Hello everyone, welcome to a new video on the channel. Today we are doing something very exciting. It's something that I look forward to every 3 months, and it is another flip through of my reading journal for 2023. This is the half year flip through. My dog is moving around the room a little bit, so if you can hear some movement noises, that is her. But let's get straight into it because we've done a lot in this journal so far this year. If you're new here, I'm using an Archer and Olive blackout journal. This wasn't my original choice, and I was challenged by a friend, and it's been an interesting one. I have definitely come to love and appreciate some things about this journal and equally have issues with them, but here we are. If you watched the last one, you'll notice this has changed a little bit. I was originally putting the number back over top of the colour, and I absolutely hated it, but I didn't know how I was going to fix it, and I ended up just slowly going over those numbers with the same coloured pen, and you can see it especially in the yellow. There is a little bit of discrepancy with the colouring, but overall I'm much happier with how it's looking now, and I will continue on using it this way. At recording of this, I have read a couple more books, but I decided that I wouldn't add them to the overall tally since we're looking just to June and I am filming this in July. So far we have read, I have read 74 books out of my 150 goal, and I don't think I'm going to meet my goal this year, but you never know. We've still got another 6 months, and let's hope I can find a whole bunch of novellas or something to try and even that out at the end and get to that big goal there. I have definitely fallen off from the quantity that I was reading of books last year. I read over 200 last year. I think it was 208, and I definitely am not doing it this year, and I have no issues with that either. I'm accepting that I don't need to read all the books. I'm definitely finding some more balance in my everyday life. I used to be very much so reading was all I did, but I'm challenging myself to do more these days. So whilst I'm really enjoying reading again as an adult, I have sort of exhausted that need to constantly read. Here is the bookshelf so far. Again, I haven't filled those 2 books in because I knew I was going to film this, and I'm loving how colourful it is. I keep saying definitely. I'm really happy with the choice to have a colour for 0.5 ratings as well. It has broken up what was looking like just 2 main colours last year. Evidently there's a lot of 4-star ratings, which is the purple still, which is good as a reading aspect. It means that I'm reading good books, but it does definitely have its moments of being not so much lately, but piling up a little bit in places. I'm happy to see the colours on this page. I think it's going to look great when it's finally finished, and hopefully we'll get some of this one done. I don't think this shelf will get reached at any point. Here is the Days Red Pixel page, and I'm really enjoying this so far. I like seeing the trends that are coming up, and it's interesting to see what has remained the whole way through. The last 3 months of this year have been really hectic for me, and being able to see trends follow all the way across has been really good, and hopeful that things would continue that way. Hoping that things will start to look a bit better on this side as well, and not so many days where I haven't read, or the trends will start to look a little bit better, because I can tell with that busyness over the last 2 months especially, there's definitely been some changes to the way the trends are looking, and also a lot more white, which represents that I did not read that day. I'm not touching this page until the end of the year, but I definitely have some ideas of what's going on it. Here is the A to Z challenge and the 23 books in 2023. I have not really gotten as far as I would like with my 23 books. I keep putting them off, and now that we're in July, I need to start adding the final books onto the list. I'm not sure what they're going to be. There's a few that I know that I want to add, but I don't want to get too ahead of myself just yet. I'm going to take the rest of July probably to figure that out, or at least a good few more days. Yeah, I haven't really given it much thought, been too busy to be honest. On this side I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 authors to find and read. I know that X and Y and U are always a challenging one. I definitely have a book on my shelf with a Q for the last name, an N I believe as well, and I think I might have one with an I, I'm not sure. But I am working on filling in this challenge as best as I can, and I'm actually quite impressed with how many I've gotten down so far. If you're also unaware, I use these sheets to stop the inky gel pens that I use from transferring. As you can see, I'm not sure if you can actually, but there's residue from when I didn't do that in the beginning from these little circles. So it's best to always have these in between on pages where I know that they're going to rub when I use pens. And here is another tracking page. Here is the TBR of the month, and I actually haven't filled in May or June on this page, and that's a bit of an issue. I need to put down that I've DNF'd May, and I actually didn't read this book over June. I'm going to try and read it this month along with The Damned. And I've got 3 more colours to go. I have read some books that have got predominantly green or red on the page, but if you can tell by the colours that I've chosen, they end up being a lot of romances actually. I'm trying to get ones that have the main block of colour be that way. I did use this blue one here for Sing Me to Sleep, which is the only, oh no, we've got 2 fantasies on the page. But I would very much so like to have these 3 filled in with the same sort of style of blocked colour. I know which one this is going to be because I've only got 1 white book left on my shelf that I've not read, and it will be a fantasy. I'm not sure what these 2 will end up being yet. Here we are at January, and most of my pages for each month are the same. I will flip through them all though. Each month I have a cover page, a monthly view, sort of the brain dump type of area with all the prompts, and my reading log, and of course a stats page. I very much so enjoy these, and I'm glad that I've used them. You can tell though over time, again, the ink residue is frustrating at best. I see what I've done wrong, so I've not put down a page in between when I was setting up this one. This ended up being a blank page by accident in between the 2 months of January and February, so I decided to not waste it and stick it together and rather use it to my advantage for another tracking. I decided that I would track down all the monthly themes so far, and I've also got my book club reads for the 2 book clubs that I belong to down here. And this one's not filled in yet because I haven't yet DNF'd it, but I'm not enjoying it, so I didn't finish it. So I'm not sure if I'm going to DNF or give it another go. We'll see. Moving into February, and each month I alternate between fantasy and romance. This is a romance theme. I should have mentioned the first one was the source. Well, we just saw it, didn't we? Sorcery of Thorns, and this one is Set on You by Amy Lee. And I really enjoyed this one. I liked that I thought outside the box and made my own Instagram posts to sort of put in here with quotes from the book. I found that to be quite a lot of fun. And I like the bold colouring and all the little hearts and the pinks and the reds. It was very much so a good February theme. March is These Violent Delights, and again I really liked how this turned out. It was my first time using my Cricut to make headers, and honestly if I had more of my what is that stuff called, vinyl, in different colours, we would have a lot more of this happening. I've only got the gold and black. I got a whole bunch of gold on clearance, so I use it quite often, but I don't want to have all my headers be the same colour throughout each month, though I do tend to lean towards this tone a lot, I've noticed. So this one's a lot cleaner, and I do find that my fantasy setups are that way, and I put a bit more effort into the romance ones. I just feel like that gives them a bit of distinction as well. And that's that one done. We're now in April, like I said, more elements on the page. And this was the Hating Game by Sally Thorne. I didn't end up liking this one, and I ended up getting some pens after I set it up that would have given me the colour scheme I wanted. When you're using a blackout journal, it's very challenging to find one that has the colours, to have all the types of colours you want unless you buy them. So it's definitely been an investment in pens this year. Moving into May, and we've got the next setup, which is Throne of Glass series. I decided to go with the whole series rather than just one book, and I really liked this one. Again, used the headers and similar colours again. And last but not least, we have June, which was With You Forever, one of my favourite romance reads, and I'm really happy with how this turned out. I love this book and this world, and the colours just all came together perfectly. I did take off from doing the TBR jar this month, so I did a readathon, but I didn't really end up filling it in like I wanted to. June was a bad month of reading for me. And here we are at the end of this one. Let me grab my other journal. Let's look through this one together now. This is my long terms reading collection, or I call it the Reading Data journal. Obviously these intro pages don't change, and the one I always skip is just personal birthdays of book friends. As you can see, I have finished the top half now of the stats page, and I am finding that this page, empty page here, is probably pointless right now. I don't think I'm going to use it for anything. You'll see why when we get to the end of the setup thus far. Here is my DNFs that I've made so far. This year I believe there's 7, and I haven't reread anything yet, but I will be in the second half of the year to prepare for new books that are coming. This is the ARC list so far. I have a few that I need to finish. I've also got a couple more that I need to add to the list that I've recently received. And then we have the series tracker, which I'm still really thrilled with. It's working really well. I do find myself getting confused as to where things are, which is frustrating, but other than that, it's working incredibly well, and I'm happy with how I am marking it down now. All the empty pages for the future. Again, the own TBR is the same situation. Really happy with how it's working now that I have a system that I like. Last year's one just didn't really work well with me. Again, finding it hard to find some books at times, but otherwise I am thrilled with the setup, and I'm just going to skip those extra pages. We're now in a section where I'm not going to continue on with. I mean, I'll fill in the ones that I have already got down, but I have come to the conclusion that this is not functional. It's just a pretty place to show what I've read. I don't really need to know if I've read the entire catalogue of someone or not anymore. Yeah, I don't find this section very helpful, especially when there's so little books released by the author. But it was nice to give it a go. I just think that it doesn't serve any purpose. And then I have added a new page. You can see it bled all the way through. And it's quite significant here as well, but this is the mid-year stats, and I'm really happy with how this set up. So like I said in the beginning, the 2023 stats page, being only one spread is not really beneficial when I need to, well, not need, but want to put this down. I actually got this layout idea from someone on Instagram. I think it's 𝓬𝓬𝓱 or something along those lines. I will definitely have it linked below, and you can check out their account. They have fantastic bullet journal setups, and I was looking for a mid-year setup and found the quarterly stats page that they had as a template and just modified it. I don't do pie charts, so decided to do it this way instead, and I'm really happy with how it's turned out. And the current stats, it's all looking pretty good. I wish I had put down a little bit more, but I did run out of room because I did everything so large scaled. And I'm thinking maybe these stickers that I created on my Kindle, sorry, no, what did I say, Kindle? My Cricut, I can fill in the gaps perhaps with those. They're all offcuts and not completely cutting out correctly. It was my trial period of learning how to create stickers, but otherwise really happy with how this is looking. And that is all that's in this book, and that is all for this video. Thank you so much for spending some time with me today as we do the flip through both journals. They're both holding up really well, as I expected. This is starting to get a little bit thick, but not too bad, and I am looking forward to another 6 months of using it, and hopefully pulling this one over into 2024, since I've spent a lot of time setting it up. Paper quality isn't as great, but it's still working for me, and I don't really pull it out except for like once or twice a month, so I'm not prepared to spend extra on making it more the quality higher when it's just a stats book right now. But very happy with how this is coming along, even though it's caused some challenges along the way and really increased how many pens I buy. But other than that, that is the mid-year flip through of my reading journal. I'll be back with a new video sometime very soon. Thank you again for spending some time with me today, and I hope that you all have a great day or night wherever you are. Bye everyone.